Okay, let's unpack this deep dive on the psychology of online derision. If you've spent any time online, you've seen the hater, that person who just seems compelled to insult anyone successful or even just visible. Our mission today is to go past all that noise and really identify the specific psychology behind it. What's really driving this impulse.
What's fascinating here is that to start, we have to clarify the vocabulary for you, because not all online malice is, well, it's not created equal.
Right.
Online hating is very distinct. It's primarily about this evaluative contempt. It's about envy directed at someone's perceived status or their achievements.
So it's specifically about tearing down success, and
Yeah.
that means true trolling is something else entirely.
Precisely. Trolling can be aggressive, sure, but its goal isn't really status degradation. It just aims for disruption, for the person's own amusement.
So it's just about getting a reaction.
Exactly. It's fueled by a kind of sadistic glee. They don't necessarily hate you. They just want to see you react.
That distinction changes everything. Okay, so if we know what they do, what are they like inside? We know the dark tetrad predicts online aggression, but how do those traits line up with these behaviors?
Well, the dark tetrad, Machiavellianism, narcissism, psychopathy, and sadism, if we're looking at the pure hater.
The one who wants to tear you down.
Right. The research shows psychopathy is the main predictor, and this isn't necessarily some calculated cruelty. It's more, it manifests as frequent impulsive insults.
Just lashing out.
Yeah, because of a lack of behavioral inhibition. It's just easy for them to do it in the moment.
Okay, so psychopathy drives the impulsive insult.
Yeah.
But what about the person who makes it a dedicated campaign? The troll.
That's where sadism comes in, and
Yeah.
it's the strongest predictor of trolling, by far. Trolls get actual pleasure from the victim's distress. Psychologists call it negative social potency.
So for the hater, the reward is seeing status fall. For the troll, it's seeing pain.
Exactly. The reward is just generating that measurable pain.
Which brings us to the core emotion here, right? Envy. We're constantly making these upward social comparisons online. And the sources say there are two very different kinds of envy.
They do. First, there's benign envy, which is motivational. You see someone successful and you think, I want to work harder to get that.
That sounds healthy.
It is. But what drives this aggression is malicious envy. And that's a hostile desire to literally pull the target down, to resolve your own feeling of inferiority by dismantling their success.
And this isn't just an internal feeling. It can be cultural. That's the tall poppy syndrome.
Yes. Tall poppy syndrome is this cultural tendency to criticize high achievers, to, bring them back in line.
And the hater will justify it, right?
Yeah.
By saying the target is arrogant or they don't deserve it.
Totally. In their mind, visible success can actually feel like a violation of a social norm.
So who gets targeted most? If success is the problem, the sources point to creative individuals as being lightning rods for this. Why them?
Because creativity is often seen as subjective, as maybe unearned, so it provides perfect material for that upward comparison bias. Then you add in any display of material possessions, and that's just a massive catalyst. When the gap feels too big to cross, the person engages in what's called source derogation.
So it's not, I wish I had that life. It's more like, they must be a fraud to have gotten that life.
You've got it. It's an attack on the source, not the success. And to trace this back, the sources link this to early life experiences. This is the fast life strategy connection.
Tell us more about that. That feels like a huge piece of the puzzle.
Well, childhood maltreatment or just unstable environments can lead someone to adopt this strategy. They start to prioritize short-term exploitative social gains because, their future feels uncertain.
So the internet becomes an escape.
A refuge, yeah. A place where they can enact a fantasy of power. It reverses the powerless dynamic they might have felt offline. It's a very low-risk way to feel potent.
Okay, so knowing it's a calculated low-risk behavior, if you're the target, what's the guidance? How do you manage it?
It really depends on who you're facing. For the sadistic troll, strategic silence is your best weapon.
To ignore them.
Completely.
Yeah.
You deny them that emotional reward, that reaction they're looking for, and the behavior often just extinguishes. Never feed the troll.
And what about the hater? The one driven by that malicious, resentful envy.
For them, cognitive empathy can be really powerful, and that doesn't mean you feel sorry for them. It means you understand their perspective.
You see the insecurity or the pain that's driving them.
Exactly. Without letting their emotion trigger yours. It lets you de-escalate or just disengage because you deny them the big confrontation they're actually craving.
So what this all means for you is, the hater isn't just some random unhappy person. They're often making a very calculated, low-risk choice online, all driven by a fragile self-worth.
Right. And that online environment enables this low-stakes exercise of power. And that leaves you with a final provocative thought, this paradox of from online aggression to offline silence.
Giants on the internet.
But cowards in real life when there's actual risk. Why does the internet enable that? What is it about anonymity that grants this feeling of power? And what does it tell us when that illusion is taken away?